If you're new to using film monitors like this, like I am, and you don't have a battery, and you don't have a mount, then I guess you're SOL. So, I guess you're out of luck. Here's what you'll need to get started. Compatible camera, the Atomos Shinobi II monitor, a battery, the Atomos mount for your camera, the supplied USB-C to USB-C control cable, and last but not least, the HDMI to HDMI mini, depending on the camera you have.
This is nice footage.
Yeah, trying to avoid this light that looks kind of, yeah, like this is sweet. Yeah, if you don't mind, just to get a few shots of you. Oh, dude, it's right there.
The autofocus doesn't know what to track.
Maybe if you put it on point as opposed to like the facial recognition, because it's...
Let's just say this morning did not go as we expected. I mean, you can see in the GoPro footage, like I'm literally running around. The light's crazy. It's changing so quickly. I mean, you can see it behind me. Like, it was amazing. But that monitor, it literally, it was disabling. It was so difficult to use and to make quick decisions. Like, this monitor is not for this style of photography. When it's run and gun, when the light is changing so quickly that you have to make split-second decisions, and if you're not used to something like this, it's gonna hinder you. It hindered us. We had to take it off. We just could not, like, we were missing shots because of it. And so we just decided, take it off, we'll get the shots, and then we'll talk about it.
I think being in a controlled environment is really the key thing for using this monitor. Essentially, what you're doing is just tethering, like if you were connected the camera to a laptop, just on a smaller screen. And so it's like when you're out here and the sun's really bright, it's hard to look at. It's like using your phone when in midday. It's a screen, it's really hard to see. If you're in like a studio environment where you're controlling everything that's happening, you're controlling the light, it's gonna be a lot easier to see what's going on that screen.
But when we had the monitor on, it just became a crutch almost. We quickly realized that this is not the piece of technology that we should be using, as things are changing so quickly, because changing simple camera settings became cumbersome. And it was difficult for us to quickly adapt to the light, to use the settings, and it just was not helping us to better the images that we were creating. Ryan and I are about to test the Shinobi Atomos monitor for video. I'm really kind of excited because we have an A7S III, we have it rigged up, and we have an entire setup that's built for this monitor. And we're going to be filming some behind the scenes of one of my good friends, Josh Peterson, who's a photographer. And we're gonna go into a studio and then get some shots of him working with a model outside and just trying to capture some of that lifestyle of being a portrait photographer, and we're going to be using the monitor. Really what we're trying to do is just showcase how easy it is to make quick decisions based on focus, based on exposure, using this monitor, but really just to get a feel of, is this practical? Is this something that I would use every single day? Let's find out. So up until this point, we'd really only tested this monitor based on how applicable it is for photography, but we hadn't really used it and tested it for video. Needless to say, I actually really enjoyed it, and I found that it was a pleasure to use. Now, I did notice that when it was hooked up to the Canon R5, it displayed some of the settings differently, and I don't know if that's because I just don't understand the monitor enough, but when it was hooked up to the Sony, it did not display all of the camera settings. However, I will say two things on that. So when it was connected to the R5, the monitor overrode everything. You could not look through the viewfinder. You could not flip open the screen and access the settings. Everything was done through the Shinobi monitor. But on the other hand, with the Sony, you could still flip open the screen and you could still access the controls, and you could do everything from the camera as opposed to accessing it from the monitor. If you're going to be spending the entire day filming something and you need a nice run and gun system, I would recommend using this because it's a very accurate picture of what you're going to be seeing. You can quickly adjust and make split-second decisions based on exposure and focusing, which I found to be really helpful because sometimes I don't always trust the autofocus, even on some of the best cameras. Like I would prefer to manually focus or rack focus myself, and having that focus peaking makes a huge difference. And being able to see it in a bright display, it's unparalleled. You can't beat that. And whenever you're looking to purchase a new piece of technology, I always ask myself, is it going to make my job easier, and is it going to help me become better? And if it doesn't do those two things, then it's probably not worth looking at. This is something that is a game changer, I think, for a lot of hybrid filmmakers, indie filmmakers who are using a lightweight setup. This is the way to go. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I'd love to get your opinion. Let me know in the comments, because this is a community and we're all trying to improve and be better. And if this piece of technology helps you to be like next level or to just get a little bit better, then that's awesome. I'd love to hear it. And anyways, until next time. Wait, I think the drone's still up in the air.
No.
Oh, jeez.